Okay, we are up to Daf Chaf Hey Amid Beis. We are the last thin line, Utehei. Now, what today's, I'll tell you the first Amid, what it does is it's basically a very nice review of everything we've been doing till now, but in a very pleasant way. The Gemara has the following question. What the Gemara is going to be doing, it's going to have a series of questions. It's like, if we were to able to make Kal V'chaimers, it should be this way. And then the answer is always a pasuk. Well, you'll see. Let's start off. Shein v'regel chayiv b'rshus harab mekal v'chaimer. We know what's the rule of shein v'regel. Shein v'regel is chayiv b'rshus hanizik nezik shalim. B'rshus harab it's potter. The Gemara says, why don't we make a kal v'chaimer that it should be chayiv? I think it should be chayiv b'rshus harabim. And it's going to be the same thing, which is like the kal v'chaimer is one way, but the pasuk says not. Meaning there should be a kal v'chaimer. I could write a kal v'chaimer that would make shein v'regel chayiv b'rshus harabim. How so? Uma keren sheb'rshus hanizik ein mishalem l'chatzi nezek b'rshus harabim chayeves shein v'regel sheb'rshus hanizik mishalem nezek shalom ein edim sheb'rshus harabim chayiv. If keren, which b'rshus hanizik is nezek, is chatzi nezek according to the Rabbanon, and shein v'regel is nezek shalom, so shein v'regel are more chomer than keren. So b'rshus harabim, where keren is chatzi nezek, kal v'chaimer, shein should be chayiv b'rshus harabim. I mean, in other words, b'rshus hanizik, shein v'regel are what? Nezek shalim. What's keren? Chatzi nezek. So you see that shein v'regel are more chomer, more severe. So what is b'rshus harabim? Keren is chayiv, shein v'regel are potter. They should be chayiv. Kal v'chaimer should be chayiv. I mean, what's the source? Why don't we make a kal v'chaimer that shein v'regel are chayiv b'rshus harabim? So the answer is Amar Kra ubir b'stei acher v'lo b'rshus harabim. The answer is the pasuk says by shein v'regel stei acher v'lo b'rshus harabim. It's gzeres hakasiv. Meaning you're right. Conceptually, if you were able to write kal v'chaimers, you're able to. But the pasuk says not like that. The pasuk says bir b'stei acher v'lo b'rshus harabim. So you see that shein v'regel are potter b'rshus harabim. Okay. Oh, it's gzeres hakasiv. So the Gemara says, okay, midi kulei kamrinan. Palga kamrina. The Gemara says, wait a minute. I never said kule, right? You asked the question, which is that bir b'stei. The question was that shein v'regel should be chayiv b'rshus harabim. So we said the pasuk says not like that. Oh, the pasuk says you're not chayiv fully. Maybe you should be chayiv chatzi nezek, right? The pasuk just says that you're not chayiv fully. I get it. You're not going to be chayiv fully. Why aren't you chayiv chatzi nezek by shein v'regel b'rshus harabim? So the answer is Amar Kra v'chitz es kasboi kasboi shazev v'lo kasboi shalacher. The answer is when it says keren that you pay half, the implication is you only pay half here, not by shein v'regel. So shein v'regel is no such thing as half; it's all or nothing, and therefore the pasuk says bir b'stei acher, which means that they're potter b'rshus harabim. Okay, keep going in these potential kal v'chaimers. V'lo yitei shein v'regel chayeves b'rshus hanizik v'chatzi nezek. I actually think what's the halacha of a shein v'regel b'rshus hanizik? You pay nezek shalim, right? We know that you pay nezek shalim. Why don't you? According to the Rabban. According to the Rabban. Correct. I'm saying you. No. Shein v'regel. Shein v'regel chayiv nezek shalim. Shein v'regel chayiv. The Gemara says I have a kal v'chaimer. I think shein v'regel should only be chatzi nezek. What's the kal v'chaimer? Uma keren sheb'rshus harabim chayeves b'rshus hanizik ein mishlemes el chatzi nezek shein v'regel sheb'rshus harabim petura ein adin sheb'rshus hanizik mishalem chatzi nezek. The Gemara says, well, think about it. If keren, what's keren b'rshus harabim? Chatzi nezek. What's keren b'rshus hanizik according to the Rabban? Chatzi nezek. So b'rshus harabim they're chayiv. And still b'rshus hanizik it's chatzi nezek. Then shein v'regel, which is potter b'rshus harabim, kal v'chaimer b'rshus hanizik should only be chatzi nezek. Meaning it shouldn't be more severe than keren because keren is chayiv b'rshus harabim, they're potter. So why isn't shein v'regel chatzi nezek? Well, no, it is because if keren, which is chayiv b'rshus harabim, is only chatzi nezek b'rshus hanizik, shein v'regel, which are potter b'rshus harabim, kal v'chaimer should only be chatzi nezek. So the answer is yishalem. The pasuk says by shein v'regel yishalem. Yishalem means you pay fully. No such thing as chatzi nezek. Yishalem. Tashum malya. That's how I know it can't be chatzi nezek because the pasuk says yishalem, which means you pay fully. Another one. Lo yitei keren b'rshus harabim chayiv. What's the halacha with b'rshus harabim by keren? So you chayiv, chatzi nezek, right? I think you should be potter entirely. I don't think there should be any chayiv by keren. Why? Kal v'chaimer. Uma shein v'regel sheb'rshus hanizik nezek shalom b'rshus harabim petura. Keren sheb'rshus hanizik chatzi nezek ein adin sheb'rshus harabim petura. Well, think about it. If shein v'regel, which are potter b'rshus harabim, which are chayiv nezek shalim b'rshus hanizik are potter b'rshus harabim. So keren, which is chatzi nezek b'rshus hanizik according to the Rabbanon, kal v'chaimer should be potter. It's all just it's you seeing. It's all, and the answer is it's a pasuk. Rabbi Yachtzun. The pasuk says that Karen pays half. The pasuk does not indicate any distinction between Rishus HaNizik, Rishus HaRabim. It's always half. So that's how you know that you're Chai B'Rishus HaRabim, because the pasuk says Yechtziyun. The pasuk gives no indication that there's a Patur B'Rishus HaRabim. Let's keep going. Two more of this, and then we're going to get into a sugya, and then from the Mishnah on, it's very easy. Two more. We know that if an animal kills someone, you have to pay kofar. If a person kills someone, there's no kofar. There's either death penalty or nothing, right? Like if you kill somebody, so if there's witnesses and you're warned, you'll get the death penalty. And if there's no death penalty, if Meiz Tam Shiyah, then whatever. There's no money, there's no monetary payment that you pay for killing somebody. So the Gemara says, I think a person should pay kofar. I think a person should pay kofar if he kills somebody from the following kal v'chomer. Now Rashi points out, when this is negeya, because if you get in the death penalty, it's kimlei b'derabini. So Rashi says this is a case where it's b'mezid, but there was no hasra. So due to technicality, you're not going to get the death penalty, but you should pay kofar. What's the following kal v'chomer? If an animal which kills somebody pays kofar, and an animal doesn't pay four things, right? We know that an animal hurts somebody, right? Doesn't kill, hurts somebody. You just pay nezek. You don't pay for tsar, ripoy, shevis, and boishes. A person pays all four things. So if a person pays all four things, kal v'chomer, you should pay kofar. Adam shechai b'arba dvarim, this shechai b'kofar. So the Gemara's answer is again, Amar Kra, the pasuk says by kofar that the owner has to pay. Allah v'lei al adam. The implication is only the owner of an animal and not the person who actually inflicted the damage. Okay. Reverse one more, the last one. Why doesn't an ox who hurts somebody pay four things? Right? An ox just pays nezek. I think an ox should pay tsar, ripoy, shevis, and boishes. Why? If a person who doesn't pay kofar pays four things, then an animal who pays kofar, kal v'chomer, should pay four things. Amar Kra, ish ba'miso, v'lo shar ba'miso. The pasuk says regarding the four things, ish, v'lo shar. Okay, shine.
Were these really cover people?
Well, yeah. The Gemara, I think, is more just speaking out, like it wants to clarify the psukim, because the psukim are not 100% clear. Now, here into the Mishnah is the only thing that's tricky.
It's a nice sentence.
Yeah, it's very nice. Here into the Mishnah is the only thing that's a little tricky about the daf. Here's the halacha. The halacha is that when the pasuk says kofar, when the pasuk describes kofar, it specifically describes a muad. Okay, that's all we know. Pasuk says a muad. If an animal gores and it's a muad and it kills somebody, you pay a kofar. That's all we know. The question the Gemara asks is, what if the animal killed by regel? The animal was walking and Nebuch stepped on a baby and killed the baby. So is there a kofar for regel? So you'll say, well, the pasuk said muad by keren. So the question is like this: is a regel comparable to a muad of a keren? In one way, yes. In one way, no. I'll give you an example. In one way, a regel is very similar. Why? Because the muad has two things about it. One is it's aggressive. Regel is not comparable. The muad did it on purpose. The regel is not. But the second thing about a muad is that it's become its nature. Regel is its nature. So the question is there kofar by regel? That's the question. Meaning a muad is considered normal now at this point, right? It gored so many times that now it's considered urche. It's considered a normal act for this animal. A regel is considered normal because it's walking. So in one way, the regel is comparable to muad. On the other hand, regel is not really comparable to muad because over there, while it is its nature, it's still intending to inflict damage as opposed to a regel where it's just walking. So that's the question. Is there true, but at least it's nature though. So this is a non-aggressive nature. So that's the question. Huh? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know what the case would be, but yes, conceptually, yeah. There would be no case of shen because I'm eating a person, but I'm saying it's that because that would be a shino, that would be a karen. But the point is, but that's by regel. That's the Gemara's question. Is there a kofar by regel? So the Gemara is a kasha. Ibailu regel shadar sagabi tinner b'chatzar nizik ma'usha teshalin kofar. Is there kofar for regel? Mi amrina mi have a karen. Do we say, well, regel is comparable to karen by a muad? Why? Karen kivan da'avet trei plus a zimna. By a muad because it's done this 3 times already. Urchehu. It's considered the animal's nature. Umishalim kofar and there's kofar. So chanami loishna. Kofar is the value of a slave. There was a certain
slave of that age.
Correct. So hachanami loishna. So too over here, there's no difference. Oidilma Karen kavanasa lahaza kayen kavanasa. Or you say no, it was a Gavin said that Karen. It might be its nature, but it's nature in a form of aggression. This, it's just its nature because it's just walking. So that's the question. Is there kaifer by Karen? So let me explain. I'll read you 2 lines and I'll explain outside. You just have to sort of visualize the outside, sort of look at like an equation, and it'll make a lot of sense. So Tashima, hichnish shari lechatzer balabais. This is a brisa. The brisa says that if your animal breaks into b'shus anizik, so it goes to the b'shus anizik shalei b'shus, v'nagchu lebalabais, and it gores and it kills someone. So hashar b'skil, right? You kill the animal. Ubaylav, and the owner pays kofer. Notice the line: Bein tam, bein muid, mishalim kofer shalim. Divrei Rav Tarfon. This brisa tells you 2 things. There is kofer by a tam, and that when it's b'shus hanizik, you pay nezik shalim. Why? Because it follows Rav Tarfon. Meaning, we've had this before for the last few days. B'shus hanizik, if an animal gores tam, b'shus hanizik, do you pay nezik shalim or chatzi nezik? So we said it's a machlokas. According to Rav Tarfon, you pay nezik shalim. This brisa, think of it like this. Look at like an equation. Rav Tarfon shita is that you pay nezik shalim normally by damages. Rav Tarfon now take out nezik shalim, put kofer shalim. This brisa tells you that the same equation, the same formula that Rav Tarfon had to come to his conclusion by nezek, take out the word nezek and input kofer. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's review. How did Rav Tarfon get to where he got? How did Rav Tarfon get to the conclusion that you pay 100% b'shus hanizik? So this was the equation, and now we're going to take out the word. I'm going to say the equation, and then we'll take out the word nezek and put in kofer. The cheshbon was if shein v'regel, which do not pay anything b'shus harabim, pay 100% b'shus hanizik. So Karen, which pays chatzi nezek, pays 100%. That was Rav Tarfon's formula to get to his conclusion. I'm going to repeat the formula, but I'm going to take out the word nezek and put in the word kofer. If shein v'regel, which pay no kofer b'shus harabim, pay kofer shalem b'shus hanizik. So Karen, which pays chatzi kofer b'shus harabim, pays kofer shalem. That's the equation. What do you see? Shein v'regel have kofer. That's the whole point of the formula. If shein v'regel pay no kofer b'shus harabim, but pay kofer shalem, pay 100% kofer b'shus hanizik. So Karen also, what do you see? The formula only works if shein v'regel have kofer. That's the whole point. So that's the Gemara's proof. The Gemara says, kofer shalem b'tamler Rav Tarfon benoli. How did Rav Tarfon come to this conclusion? Is la mishum desavar l'kar Rav Yossi Aglili. Damertam shalem chatzi kofer b'shus harabim. It's because Rav Tarfon sort of looks at kofer as the exact same thing as nezek. B'shus harabim, he says there's chatzi kofer. B'shus hanizik, therefore there's kofer shalem. How did he get there? And he must have made the same formula, the same shtickle Torah that I just said by nezek, he inputted with kofer. This kal v'chomer only works. Again, how did Rav Tarfon get to the conclusion that if an animal which is a tam, b'shus hanizik, pays kofer shalem, it's because b'shus harabim it's chatzi kofer, and he take the same kal v'chomer by regel and shein, he inputted, instead of nezek, he put a kofer. So if shein v'regel, which pay no kofer b'shus harabim, pay 100% kofer b'shus hanizik. So Karen, which pays chatzi kofer b'shus harabim, kal v'chomer pays 100% kofer b'shus hanizik. That must be the formula that he came to. That must have been his formula. And that proves to you that there is kofer by shein v'regel. Good? That's the Gemara says. Now the Gemara has one attempt, and you're going to see it's a problem. The Gemara says, Amr of Shimi Menarda, Tana minizakin de regel ma'isila. Maybe no. Maybe there is no kofer by shein v'regel at all. So how did Rav Tarfon come to the conclusion that there's kofer shalem b'shus hanizik? This is how he did it. I'm going to say the formula. You'll see there's an issue. This just doesn't really work, but I'll tell you the formula. If shein v'regel pay 100% nezek b'shus hanizik and pay nothing b'shus harabim, then Karen, which pays chatzi kofer b'shus harabim, kal v'chomer pays kofer shalem. So instead of kofer to kofer, he went from nezek. So he went from shein v'regel have no kofer. So what's the formula? The formula is as follows: if shein v'regel, which pay no nezek b'shus harabim, pay nezek shalim b'shus hanizik. So tam, which pays chatzi kofer b'shus harabim, kal v'chomer pays kofer shalim. So you're actually going from nezek to kofer. That would be the formula. The problem is, by the way, there's going to be one glaring issue. I'll tell you the problem now. You'll see it at the end of the Gemara. What would be the formula again? You're trying to prove that Karen has kofer shalom b'shus hanizik, and what's the proof? If Shein v'regel, which pay no kofer, have nezek shalom, so Tam, which pays chatzi kofer b'shus harabim kavachomer kofer shalom. If Shein v'regel have no kofer, then how could they be the source that there should be kofer somewhere? Like, that doesn't make much sense. Like, you're telling me, how do I know that Tom pays kofer shalom b'shus hanizik? Well, if Shein v'regel pay nezek shalom b'shus hanizik, kavachomer, what? Kavachomer Tam should pay kofer shalom. But Shein v'regel don't pay kofer at all. So it shows you could have one without the other. Like, your proof is that if Shein v'regel pay nezek shalom, kavachomer, they don't pay kofer at all, but they pay nezek shalom, kavachomer Tam should pay nezek kofer shalom. Like, no. You see from Shein v'regel, you could have not have kofer and have nezek. So once you see you could have one without the other, then how do you apply it? But then before the Gemara gets there, the Gemara is just going to entertain this svara. Really, right now, the Gemara is saying, no, really, there is no kofer at all by Shein v'regel. So what was the formula that Rav Tarfon had? This is the formula. If Shein v'regel have no nezek b'shus harabim, but nezek shalom b'shus hanizik, so Karen, which pays chatzi kofer b'shus harabim, pays kofer shalom b'shus hanizik. That would have been the formula. The problem is, so you're learning out from nezek, that if they have nezek, then Karen has kofer. So the Gemara says, v'lifrach malin nizak and deregel sheken yeshem be'esh. What about fire? Right? You're saying that if there's Karen, if there's Nezek, then there's automatically Kofer. You're learning out from Shein v'regel. So what about fire? Fire doesn't have Kofer and has Nezek. The whole point is that if there's Nezek, there's automatically Kofer. What about fire? So the Gemara says, we're learning from Mitamun. We're learning from Shein v'regel of things that are hidden. There is no Taman be'esh. So we're not talking about fire because we're talking about things that are hidden. So we're saying, if regel, which destroys something hidden, pays nezek shalom, then tam, kofer shalom. What about fire? We're talking about hidden, so there is no fire. The Gemara says, malatam shekesha bar. Okay, what about a bar? If something hidden falls into a bar, right? Let's say a box, and inside the box there's something and it falls into a bar, you have to pay for it. There's no kofer by a bar. So the Gemara says, kalim, we're talking about kalim. Kalim, there's no bar by kalim. Ain't kalim babar. You don't have to pay for kalim that fell into a bar. Only animals and people. Okay, the Gemara says, well, malakalim sheyesh be'esh, but kalim have fire. Toman kalim, hidden kalim. Okay, we're just.
What about a baby in a box?
Yeah. So the Gemara says, well, kalim toman. Malakalim toman sheyesh ba'adam. What about people? Elav shmamina. It must be mikoifer the regel ma'isila al mikoifer. Regel the Gemara says, you don't forget this. Go back to the original shot. The answer is it's learned out from koifer. Rav Tarfon's formula was very, very simple, and that is if chatzi koifer, if it's all koifer, and this is it. If Shein v'regel, which pay no koifer b'shus harabim, pay koifer shalom b'shus hanizik, then Tam, which pays chatzi koifer b'shus harabim, kavachomer koifer shalom. It's learned out from Shein v'regel, and Shein v'regel have koifer, and that's it. That is a proof. Shema mina. Okay. The Gemara now points out what I said before. It makes sense that there's koifer by Shein v'regel, because if you don't actually entertain the thought that there's koifer, and as I said before, then what would be the formula? The formula would be if Shein v'regel, which pay no koifer, pay nezek shalom, then Tam should definitely pay koifer shalom. The problem with that formula, the Gemara says, "Lifrach malin nizak and deregel shekayasha beregel." It wouldn't make any sense. What's your point? The point is, think about how ridiculous this is. I don't know if I'm explaining properly how flawed this is. You're trying to figure out what the status is by koifer shalom b'shus hanizik by a Karen. Koifer with this def. So you'll say, well, Shein v'regel pay nezek shalom. They never pay koifer, but they pay nezek shalom. Then Karen should definitely pay koifer shalom. Because you're learning out from Shein v'regel, who don't pay koifer. So I'm going to learn out from A, which has no rights regarding koifer, what koifer should be by B. That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know of a good example of how flawed it is, but you're trying to find out what the status of koifer is, and you're learning out from Shein v'regel, which don't pay koifer. So then, you know what I'd respond to that? They don't pay koifer. Get out of here. Like I'm going to talk to them. They have no idea there's no shaykhs, you understand? It doesn't work. So rather go to the original shot. There is kaifer beregel shma mina. Beautiful. Now, from here to the end of the daf is very, very easy, very, very pleasant. The Mishnah says like this. Okay, Adam mu'id l'aylam. Hold on one second. Let me just grab a tissue. One second. Is it a tissue? Now we're talking. Sorry. Okay. So the Mishnah says, Adam mu'ud la'olam, which means a person pays and he's a mu'ud, meaning there's no chatzi nezek by a person's damages. Adam mu'ud la'olam. Bein shoygig, bein mezid. Whether a person damaged b'shoygig, he has to pay. Whether it's a mezid, he has to pay. Bein yashen. Whether he's awake, whether he's asleep. Simes ein chaveroi. Now the Mishnah gives two examples of damages of a person. If a person blinded his fellow's eye, v'shiber esakelim, or he broke vessels, you have to pay. Chayiv, mishalem nezishal. Now, basically, why does the Mishnah have to give those two examples? Like, I got it. You gave me the rule. The rule is if a person damages, he pays. So why does he have to give these two examples? So the Gemara wants to say like this: Ketani simas ein chaveroi dumi deshiver eskelim. The Gemara is comparing. The Mishnah is comparing blinding a fellow's eye to breaking vessels. In what way? What do you pay when you break vessels? You pay damages. You don't pay four things. You don't pay tsar, ripoy, shevis, and baishis. It's an item. So to the Mishnah is telling you there is a situation where you're going to break your fellow's eye, and you don't pay for those four things. You just pay damages. By the way, I believe we have to do. It's a whole sugi later on. I think I misspoke a couple days ago. It might have been Shabbos. I don't remember that. You don't pay the damages. I believe is the value his loss as a slave. I don't think it's pain, but we'll get to that. But the point is, you pay nezek. The Mishnah is saying there's a situation where you're going to pay for breaking your fellow's eye as if it was breaking a chair. Meaning by breaking a chair, you just pay one thing. So too, breaking a fellow's eye, you also pay one thing. So when do you pay four things? When do you pay one thing? And the answer is very simple. Rashi says, shoygig mezid. If you hurt someone b'shoygig, you pay nezek. Nezek shalit, but you pay nezek. If you hurt someone on purpose, tsar, ripoy, shevis, and pashas. That's the rule. So says the Gemara, ma hasam nezekin arba dvarim loy, avsimas ein chaveroi, nezekin arba dvarim loy. Go to the next page. So now we have a rule. That is, I have to pay if I hurt someone by accident, but I only pay one thing, nezek. I don't pay for the four things. You only pay the four things when you did it on purpose.
By accident,
Only one thing. Now, how do I know that you pay it all when it's by accident? Maybe the Torah says if you did by accident, you potter, right? You're swinging your hand. You don't realize there's a guy behind you. You break his nose, so you have to pay. Now, you don't have to pay the tsari b'shavish. You have to pay nezek. Maybe you should be potter. I didn't. It was accident. So the Gemara says, "Minon immediately. How do I know that you have to pay when you hurt someone by accident at all?" Amar Chizkiya, v'cheintanut bechizkiya. Amar Kra petza tachas patza. The pasuk says a wound in place of a wound, meaning you always pay for the wound. It doesn't matter the cheshbon. L'chayv al shoygig, mezid, oines, ratzin. You pay whether it's shoygig, whether it's mezid, whether it's oines, or something. You have to pay. Now, so the source that you have to pay by shoygig is from petza tachas patza. The problem is petza tachas patza teaches you something else. The Gemara says, "Hamiboyle litin tsar b'makam nezek." I thought Petzatachas Patza tells you that there's tsar and nezek, meaning nezek is the value that you lost as a slave. Yeah, tsar is pain. The Gemara says that if not for this pasuk, I would actually think you don't have to pay for both. Meaning, maybe you only have to pay for pain when there's no damages. You go to someone, you give him a really bad paper cut, very very painful, or you make him bite his own tongue. Very, very painful. Is there any damage to him? No, he's fine. Maybe that's when you pay for tsar, when there's just tsar. But when there's an actual damage that I'm paying for the limb, or you got cut the guy's arm off. So you're paying for his limb. So he's like, "Hey, but pay me for pain." Dude, I'm paying for your limb already. So how do I know that there's tsar and nezek? Petza tachas potza. The two, the lashon. So how could Petza tachas potza teach us both things? It tells me that I have to pay for shoygig, and it tells me that there's both tsar and nezek. So the Gemara says, "Im kein lichtav kra petza bepetza, my petza tachas potza shmami notarti." If it was just to tell you that there's pain and sar and nezek, it would be petza bepetza. Just the word petza twice. Petza tachas potza, the extra tachas, is telling you that you pay even if it's b'shegig. Okay, fine. Now here's very, very. I actually like this Gemara very much. It's coming as Gemara. Very interesting. There's a couple situations where you're chayiv b'shegig, right? We just got finished saying you'll chayiv b'shegig for hurting someone. We know that there's Shabbos where you could bring a carbon if it's b'shegig. We know that there's Golus for killing someone b'shegig. And we know that there's a concept of freeing a slave if you damage Evet Kanani, if you hurt his eye, if you give him. The question is, what if I did an action?
eye or any limb?
Any limb. Any limb that won't grow back. Now the question is, the Gemara is going to give us cases, and it's all going to be cases of shogeg, and it's going to be like, what about Golus? What about Shabbos? What about Evet? What about, boom, boom, boom. So let's go case number one. A guy's sleeping, okay? You put a brick on his stomach.
I like that.
He doesn't know about it. And when he wakes up, He freaks out. He wakes up, and the rock just flies off him. He has no idea it's on. So the question is, and then it hurts somebody, or and then it goes Daled Amos b'Shus Rabim for Shabbos, or then it flies into the Eved's eye, or then it kills somebody. So what are the payments? So let's go through each one. Okay. Le'inyan nizak and chayv. Now, if it hurts somebody, he has to pay nezek, because we just got finished saying you pay for nezek whether it's shoygig, mezid, or nisratzim. Correct. And this is what we just got finished saying a patza tachas patza that you have to pay whether it's shoygig, mezid, or nisratzim. So you have to pay.
I'm sorry, but the person who put the brick there, he's scot-free.
Well, I mean, in Shemayim, I'm sure he'll be punished, but it's a gram at most.
Don't give him out there.
Exactly. Le'inyan arba dvarim. So okay, so he's chayiv nezek. Now, le'inyan arba dvarim, does he have to pay tsari b'shavas b'ishes? No, potter, because as we've said, that's only if it's b'mezid. This is not b'mezid. Le'inyan Shabbos. Let's say the rock rolls into Rosh Hashanah. It's melechas ma'Shabbos asatar. You don't even have to bring a carbon. Why? Because Shabbos, the shoygig of Shabbos is melechas ma'Shabbos, which means I know what I'm doing. I just either think it's mutter on Shabbos or I think it's Tuesday. Over here, I don't even know what I'm doing. This is just like, it's called misasik. It's not like this was completely unintentional. Okay? What about Golus? Let's say I kill somebody. Potter. Why should we potter? This is, you killed someone by accident. So we're going to see, Rashi says, is going to point out to the Gemara in a little bit, you're only chayiv Golus if you were aware of your action and then you had a lapse in judgment. You have to have a yediyah and then a forgetting. Over here, you never knew. Meaning, the next case, if I knew the rock was on my stomach and then I forgot about it, and then I got up and it killed somebody, I would be chayiv in Golus. But over here, I was never aware.
So when you're swinging the axe and
you at least know what you're doing.
at least you know that
Exactly. You know what you're doing, you just don't think it's going to lead to death. Over here, I don't even know what I'm doing, and I was never aware that this item was on me. So it's potter from Golus. And what about Eved? What if this rock flies off me and blinds my Eved? So it's a machloikes, plukta der Rav Shimon Gamliel v'Rabbanan. Machloikes Shimon Gamliel v'Rabbanan. What's the machloikes? In general, if you blind someone's eye, but you're not intending to hurt them, is the Eved free? So the example the Gemara gives, what if you're a dentist, and you're trying to give him a cavity, okay? You're trying to help the guy, and all of a sudden he squirms, you pop his tooth out. So machloikes, does he go free? Over here, you definitely hurt him, but it was not intending to inflict pain. It's a machloikes. That same machloikes would apply over here. I didn't intend to hurt the guy, but I ended up hurting the guy. So if you hold that it's just the result, I don't care about the intention, he'll go free. If not. So machloikes Shimon Gamliel. The Tanya, Haresha Rabbi Roife. Let's say the master is a doctor. And the slave says, "Can you put cream on my eye?" And while he's there, I don't know, he squirms and you poke his eye and you ruin his eye. Or scrape my tooth for me, and you knock the tooth out accidentally. The Tana Kamma says the slave got away. He was smart. He played with you and he got away, meaning he goes free. According to Tana Kamma, it doesn't matter what your intention is. You hurt your slave, he goes free, automatic. So to over here, if the rock's on your chest and you get up, even though you have no idea what you're doing, slave goes free. This is Gavin afterwards. I'll tell you, this is Negeya. We once talked about this. I think your wife would appreciate that one. With as long as you give him something, you give the slave. As long as you give the slave a piece of clothing, it doesn't really matter what you cheshbon. So v'shichasa, chichav and l'shichasa. It's a machlokes. According to this one, you have to actually give it. You have to hurt the person. You have to intend to inflict pain in the slave. That's the first case. So where there was a rock on your chest, you didn't even know about it. Second case. You knew the rock was on your chest, but then you completely forgot about it, and then when you get up, he flies away. So this will be the exact same thing. The only thing that'll be different is for Golus. I told you for Golus, you only go to Golus for killing someone accidentally if you were aware and then forgot. So the first case, you're potter. This case, you'll be chai. But everything else will be the same. Let's run through it. Linin nizaken chai, you'll be chai nezek. Linin dar dvarim potter. Linin Golus chai. Oh, Golus you'll be chai. Damar kra b'shgaga mechlal dehavel idea, because the pasuk says you killed him by accident, which means at some point you were aware of what you were doing. So at some point you knew there was a rock there, but then so that's chai and Golus havel idea. Linin Shabbos potter. Linin evet pluk dershim gamliel v'rabbanan. All the same. Let's go to third case. Nischav and lizark shtayim v'zarek arba. Okay, this case I'm throwing the rock. I intend to throw it to you guys, but my arm is so powerful, the rock it soars on me, and it goes behind you, it goes daled amos. I want to throw 2 amos, it goes daled amos and kill somebody, or hit someone in the eye, or hurt somebody.
But he has kavanah to throw it.
He has kavanah to throw, but he doesn't kavanah to throw it there. And he doesn't have kavanah to hurt the guy, because he doesn't think the rock's going to go there. So what's the halacha? Linin is akin chayv. Again, you're chayv for damages because you're always chayv for damages. It doesn't matter what the intention is. Linin dalad dvarim potter. You can be potter from dalad dvarim because it's not on purpose. I definitely didn't intend to hurt the guy. Linin Shabbos malechas machshavas bina. When it comes to Shabbos, you'll be potter. Why? I intended to throw 2 amas. It ended up going dalad amas. That was not my intention. That's not called malachas machshavas. Again, malachas machshavas means I intended to do that action. I just either thought it was mutter or I thought it was Tuesday. I didn't realize it was Shabbos. Over here, I did not intend to throw a dalad amas. So I'm potter. Le'inyan galus. Now, in galus, what's the deal if it kills someone? Asher loy tzada amar rachmana. The pasuk says you did not aim. Now, what does that mean? So Rashi has 2 versions. Either that means that you're chayiv in galus, or Rashi's second version is that you're potter in galus. So it's 2 versions. So I'll go with the second version because I think that's the most you're trying to go. Over here, you don't go to galus. Why? Because you actually over here it's worse than the it's worse than galus doesn't help you. Galus is meant when it's completely accidental. Over here, you threw it. Now you may not have intended to hurt the guy, or maybe you didn't intend to go where it went, but you threw a rock. It's like you intended to shoot above the air, but you accidentally shot him. Galus won't help you. What you did was too bad for galus. No, it's not mazid. It's like karev lemazid. So you can't get the death penalty. But what you did, like galus won't help you. So you're potter. So you're in that stuck in between.
Really
but potter implies that like, oh, you're a tzaddik. No. Galus won't help you. According to the first version of Rashi, you actually do go to galus. There's two versions of Rashi.
you want to go to galus.
Yeah, for sure. As opposed to, it's a kapara. Conceptually, it's better. And in an Evid is put to one last case. I intended to throw daled amas, and it went 8 amas. So what would be the difference? This is only related to Shabbos. The only difference would be Shabbos. Because think about it. You intended to throw daled amas. Now it ended up soaring on you. But you intended to actually do an act that would be Michal Shabbos, because you intended to throw daled amas or Shasarab. Now again, it soared on you, so it went further. So the question is, are you chayiv in Shabbos? Would be the only difference. So le'inin nizaken chayiv, le'inin darim potter, le'inin Shabbos.
What's the difference between 4 and 8? What's the difference between 4 and 8 by Shabbos?
No difference.
So what's the difference?
So the Gemara says le'inin Shabbos ba'omer kol makom shetirtza tenuachin. If your intention is, listen, I don't care where it lands, as long as it goes daled amas at least, then you're going to be chayiv a karban because you intended for it to go daled amas. Eloi. But if you actually wanted it,
isn't that like a mazid then?
No, my point would be you forget it's Shabbos, you didn't realize it was Shabbos, whatever it is, or you think it's Tuesday, or you think it's mutter. But if, let's say, you decided, I wanted it to go 4 amas only, and it went 8, so then you would actually be potter, because for Shabbos, you need melechas machshavas. You actually need the action to be the outcome that you wanted. I did not want it to go 8 amas, I wanted it to go 4. Again, it's
That's hard.
yeah, I know, that's a tough one. I know, because at the end of the day, you're thinking of it from Chilul Shabbos perspective. You got to think from desired result perspective. So that's what Gemara says. So for Shabbos it would depend. And Linin Golus Ashaloit Sada Pralin Eschavin Lizak Arba V'Zarik Shemaina. Pashtas, when it comes to Golus, you'll be potter because again, because like I said before, this is too severe. Such a person does not deserve the atonement. Yeah. Okay. And now, last 2 Gemaras, and we'll end with this. I'm on a roof and I throw a glass bowl off the roof. So once it's in the air, it's already considered broken. And in the middle of the air, we had this before, someone hits it with a baseball bat. The one who hits it with a baseball bat is potter. Why? He broke a broken utensil. I'm chayav for throwing it off the roof. But what about the last case? This is an interesting case. I throw a glass bowl off the roof, but they put out pillows. So when I threw it, it won't break. Now, if someone were to come and break it, he'd be chayav, but that's not what he did. What did he do? A guy comes and he moves the pillows. So you know who's potter? Everybody. My taima. Everyone's potter. Why? I'm potter because when I threw it, I did not do an action that would break it. It's like I shot and then the wall fell. I didn't do an action that would break it. So I'm potter. You, for taking the pillows away, Rashi says, let's look at the last Rashi and one with this. Rashi says that the last one is potter. Why? Shari mazrikasa ein seif elushaver. V'zesha not al karim, the one who pulls away the blankets. Atzmei not al potter. De grama ben izaken have. It's just a grama. He didn't do anything b'yadayim. So it's a grama, and you can't make someone pay for a grama, at least according to some Tanaim. So this one, technically, everyone would be potter. All right, we'll stop here. Pick it up tomorrow. Position.
Like a pitcher catcher. If you throw something, the batter doesn't catch